の日僕の心は音もなく崩れ去った壊れて叫ん
Hello again everybody and welcome to another installment of Game Time. Today we are going to be jumping into Dead by Daylight, and yeah, it's going to be a tutorial video for beginners, a beginner's guide if you like. There's a lot of new people going to be joining Dead by Daylight when the new patch hits with the archives and all of that, I would have thought. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be trying to teach new players, specifically rank 20 to 15s, the basics of Killer. And it will be Killer only in this video. I will have a Survivor tutorial coming in the next couple of days. But we're just going to go through basically what happens with regard to Killer, how to use it, what the best things to do are, but it's all going to be beginner level. So if you have played Dead by Daylight before and you sat there thinking that, you know, oh, you're just telling me what we already know, yeah, this is not for you. This is for people who know zero about DBD. So let's get right into it, shall we? First things first, when you're playing any side, Killer or Survivor on Dead by Daylight, if you're brand new to it, your best option is go to options and press R1 if you're on PS4 and go to how to play Survivor and then run how to play Killer. These two are the tutorials, and they will give you a free 25,000 blood point bonus once you complete each tutorial to spend on your Killer or your Survivor, whichever one you're going to be going for, or half on both. And that's a good shout really, because the majority of the time when you first start you're going to get camped, you're going to get tunneled, you're going to be in the game for less than probably 3 minutes, and it's all part of the learning curve. There's new killers at your rank that are learning, there's new survivors at your rank that are also trying to learn. So bear that in mind and try and grind through it. It does get better, I assure you. Anyway, so run these tutorials, then you'll get given 50,000 blood points. Right, so we're going to jump into Killer, and we're going to show you a little something about the main UI. Firstly, at the top left, we've got our Killer selection. So we got the Trapper, we got the Wraith, we got the Hillbilly, we got the Nurse, we got the Hag, the Doctor, the Shape, the Huntress, the Cannibal, the Nightmare, the Pig, the Clown, we got the Spirit, we got the Legion, we got the Plague, we got the Ghostface, and most recently we have the Demogorgon. So first thing you need to know is, if you're first playing this game, you're only going to have the base killers. So base killers for PS4 are Trapper, Wraith, Billy, Nurse, Hag, and I believe Doctor. You can, however, go to the PlayStation Store and get the Lullaby for the Dark DLC, which will include the Huntress, for free. And she comes with David King, a survivor. So make sure you download that as well, because who doesn't like a free DLC? Anyway, moving on. If you press D-pad right in this menu here, when you're looking at your killers, you will get an info panel. This info panel. Here's the backstory for the killer you're currently looking at, so you could read through that if you're so inclined. Over the right side we've got his main teachable perks, so each killer has 3 perks that are unique to them. So for the Trapper we have Unnerving Presence, we have Brutal Strength, and we have Agitation. Those perks will be initially unlocked at level 1 for every single killer in the game. So you will always have access to level 1 Unnerving, level 1 Brutal, and level 1 Agitation. You will always start with 1 perk slot unlocked, so you can use one of these, just one. But you will always have a perk, so that is good to know. We'll get more into the perks at a later stage. Then at the bottom right we've got their attributes. Each killer has a different attribute. The top one, if you hover over it, look, it will tell you. It's the max base speed, so the movement speed of the killer. So the highest in the game currently, as far as I'm aware, for max base movement speed is 4.6 meters per second. That applies to the Trapper. Then the next one down is the base terror radius. Now the term base is used because all of these are interchangeable with perks. So for example, the terror radius of the Trapper is 32 meters. So in a circle around the trapper, around the killer, as he's moving through the game, you'll hear a heartbeat. If you're within that 32 meter range, you as the survivor will also hear that heartbeat. The closer the killer gets to you, the more pronounced it's going to be, the more loud, if you like. But there is perks from other killers, like monitor and abuse. That's a perk from the doctor that reduces the size of your terror radius. So if you're used to hearing a killer from 32 meters and then all of a sudden it's got 8 meters difference, it's gonna throw you a bit. So they can get a lot closer to you. So bear that in mind, people. Then the last one on this screen is the killer's height. So you got a short, medium and tall range killer. Trapper is a tall killer, so he's going to be able to see everything over things. You'll be able to look over pallet loops, you'll be able to look over different areas easier than you would with a small killer. So in one map specifically, Coldwind Farm, there's loads of cornfields all the way around the map. A tall killer is a lot better suited to the corn than a short killer, because you're just going to get lost, you're not going to see shit. And then the last item in this screen is the power. So each killer has their own power. So currently we're on the trapper. Trapper, obviously, it's bear traps. Excuse the dog. He wants to have his say, he wants to get involved in the video. He loves playing killer, does the dog. Anyway, moving forward. Each killer will have its own power. So trapper is bear traps. So then we can move on to the wraith, and you'll see all of this change. Bottom right, bottom left, all the perks will change, the backstory will change, the power will change. There we go. Our first change is the nurse. So if you look from there, 4.6 meters a second for the hillbilly is his movement speed with a 32 meter terror radius, and he's tall. You move on to the nurse, you got an average height, you got 3.8 meters per second with a 32 meter terror radius. So bear in mind, always look at that when you're thinking about playing a new killer. What else is the basics? What else can I tell you real quick? I think that's pretty much it, other than your daily rituals. If you press left D-pad from this screen, there we go, you'll find your daily rituals. So I've got Right of the Jaws currently, which is catch 3 survivors in bear traps. If I go into a trapper game, run it and catch 3 people, this bar will go green and it'll end up with a tick next to it. You click that, it will give you 25,000 blood points on top of the score you've already got. So it always pays to do these, and you will only get 1 a day. This icon down here, if you haven't deleted one that day, you can actually delete it. So for example, what's my lowest paying one currently? My lowest paying one is the Right of the Jaws, so I'm going to delete that. So if I delete it, it'll move it along and we'll get a different one. So now this one, we got by your hand, kill 1 survivor with the pig, and that's worth 60,000. So 60, 70, 80, 90, 135,000 blood points extra if I do all 3 of those. So that's a good shout. So always do your dailies. Next thing we're going to get into is the loadout. Loadout is your perks and your add-ons. Alright, so this is your perks. You'll always start with 1 perk. Then you'll get your character up to level 15 and it'll unlock the other slots. So then you can always run 4. There's different levels to different perks. You always want to aim to get the level 3 of every perk. If you look on a perk, like there, you'll see top right of the little icon, there is 3 scratches. That means the perk is level 3. The higher rank it is, the more powerful the perk is. So always look out for what level you're grabbing. Up here, we got add-ons that change the power. So if you got no add-ons, say with the trapper, you got nothing on at all, you're just going to be able to set some traps and use your R2 attack and smack people. But if you get an ultra rare, for example, and you add that in, whenever you place a trap now, whenever a survivor goes to disarm the trap, which you can do by holding L1, they will get injured without you actually hitting them. So they change it drastically. So always run an add-on. They only last 1 game, so bear that in mind as well. Then we have offerings, which are also 1 game only. Blood points, you can add extra blood points with it. You can choose a map that you specifically want. You can put a memento mori on. Memento Moris allow you to kill survivors if you've hooked them at least once. An Ebony Memento Mori, which is the ultra rare, will allow you to kill every survivor if you hook them. An Ivory Memento Mori, which is a green, will allow you to kill one person in the trial, and then the other 3 you have to, you know, kill yourself. And a Cypress Memento Mori will allow you to kill the last remaining survivor in the trial. So yeah, keep that in mind as well. Now, what we're going to do, now we've just quickly gone over all of this, is get into the Bloodweb real quick. Now the Bloodweb is where you level up your character. You level up your character by spending blood points. To get blood points you have to play a game. Blood points is the currency to Dead by Daylight, and each node in the Bloodweb will consume, say, 3,000 blood points for a brown, 5,000 blood points for a green, 6,000 blood points for a purple, and 4,000 blood points for a yellow, and finally 7,000 blood points for a red. You want to work your way all the way around this Bloodweb to completely clear it, and then you're going to get items, you're going to get add-ons, and your killer's going to level up, which also allows you to buy more perks and use more perks. So yeah, keep that in mind too. Now, what we're going to do after that, because the customization screen is the last screen available, this just allows you to change the costumes of the killers that you can buy from the store, or put on your prestige gear, which you unlock by getting level 50 and then prestige in your killer. We'll get into that into another video as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run a custom game, and we're going to show you a few tips and tricks gameplay wise with how to use a killer, the mechanics itself, how to combat loops as a killer that the survivor's going to do. Loops I will get into when we're in the game, but what we're going to do is we're going to invite Shadow, which is my real life significantly better half. You should all know her from Conan, Trios Raid. She was Midnight in that video. So we're going to invite her into a Kill Your Friends game, and we're going to show you some techniques on killer and survivor and the like. So we'll just wait for her to join up real quick, and then we'll run a game. Also, a thing to note, if you're playing with your friends in a custom game, if you press D-pad down, you can get some settings. You can choose your map, you can choose whether all the perks are available, all the items are available, all the offerings are available, and allow DLC killers even if they haven't been purchased. So you can try them out before you buy them, basically, is what custom game is for. Here's all the maps. So what we're going to be doing first is we're going to be picking a pretty big map with a lot of loops. So let's have a look. What's a good map for some loops? Azarov's maybe? Let's do the Wretched Shop on Wreckers. Wretched Shop on Wreckers, why not? Right, so we're going to get into this game right now. I'm going to actually take off all my perks, because I'm not going to be running anything but the base to show you all what I'm talking about. Right, so we're going to run in naked, and we're going to take off absolutely every perk in the game. Right, so currently I'm the Trapper. I'm going to be in first person, obviously, and we're going to start in a random part of the map. So that banging noise over there, that's Shadow. Every time she bangs or she does a fast vault or a fast action, it's going to make a banging noise, which will alert the killer to where survivors are. That's plenty. The banging noise that I'm hearing currently is either somebody jumping into a locker or fast vaulting through a window. So keep an eye out for that. It is also the same noise for somebody that is AFK, and if you're AFK you get crows start spawning around your head, and when they spin around your head, if you sit still for too long, it makes that same banging noise. Right, there's the hatch. We'll get into the hatch later. So we're going to go over to Shadow, and we're going to go and see what she's doing. Right, she's teabagging the shit out of me at the moment, so hello Shadow. Right, she's running. So all of this marks on the floor. Whenever a survivor runs, you will see scratch marks for roughly 10 seconds. And the scratch marks lead you to where the survivor is. So, if you see, whenever she's running there, she's leaving more and more and more scratch marks. If she loops in a same place, they're just going to get more and more and confuse the ever-living shit out of the killer. So now, if she walks towards me, there is nothing. Absolutely no scratch marks at all. But if she was to come near me, run from the right side of the shack and break into a vault through the window, scratch marks start, go over towards the window, lead over towards the rock, and end up by the tree. So that's how you find people, that's how you track people, that's the scratch marks. So that's something to bear in mind. Now, what we're going to show you real quick is the difference between normal loops, safe loops, and unsafe loops. So we'll start with the shack. The shack, this building here, usually there is one of two places to house the basement. It can spawn in here, but not necessarily. If you look here, this part there will be stairs, and that's the killer's basement usually. But it's either in the shack, if it's not in the shack, it's somewhere in the center of the map in a different building, or somewhere else. So, this loop, the shack loop, is a pretty good loop. So when you're a survivor and you're starting out fresh, you're going to be wanting to find these. These are pallets. So these will block the killer access to hitting the survivor. So for example, if we drop this pallet in a mid-chase, which we're not going to do, but if we did, this would prevent me from gaining access to Shadow to hit her. So then I've got to break this while Shadow then runs away somewhere else. Or I can not break it and try and run around the other side, but look how long it takes. Alright, it's going to take me a long time, by which point I've got this side that can just jump over the pallet and then I'm still blocked. So this is a very safe loop. There's no way I can get to her unless I go through the window. Another thing to remember, if you vault, it locks you into an animation for about 3 to 4 seconds as a killer, and it will slow you down. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to start a little loop. So if I see Shadow working on that generator from a mile away, so I'm going to go over here, and then she's going to know to loop the shack. If I'm coming from any direction towards the shack, she's pretty safe. So I'm going to be running now. She sees me coming, she's going to start running. So now she's going to start the loop. So we're going to go around and we're going to try and catch her. So let's count these loops. Right, that's one loop. She's going again. She didn't drop the pallet. That's 2 loops. Now, she should have dropped that there. There we go. Because most people will swing through pallets like that. So because she's dropped it, I've now got to destroy it. So, now we've destroyed that pallet, we need to go and try and find out where she went. But, unless she... I mean, she's running out in the open, obviously. But yeah, that's the time when you hide. When you break line of sight and you hide. So this is another loop, so we're going to follow her around this one. This is another pretty safe loop. So we keep following the scratch marks, we're running around. And she's gone back through the window, so now I'm going to duck back this end. And I'm going to try and cut her off, and then I'm going to go through this side. And then we're catching her up a bit there. And then she thinks I'm coming that way, and then I'll go this way. And then we get a hit. You see what I did there? I pretended to go one way and use my red light to shine that side, and then I walk backwards while looking around and then spawn and hit like that. That's called moonwalking. That's a pretty handy thing to do as a killer. So that's one technique you can prevent survivors having a safe loop like so. We'll show you an unsafe loop after she's finished. I'm just going to go and have a run around and see if I can find an unsafe loop on Wreckers. I don't think there is many on Wreckers, to be honest. It's a pretty good map for loops. But yeah, basically, whenever the killer's in a chase, if you're in a chase for more than, I think it's 15 seconds, the killer will get Bloodlust. Bloodlust will speed the killer up in a chase. The longer the chase is, the faster the killer will become. To reduce this, the survivor needs to drop a pallet, and then when a killer breaks a pallet, his Bloodlust level will be reset. So this loop here, this big building, this is an absolutely phenomenal loop. So if she starts the chase, I'm going to try and keep following her until I get Bloodlust. And if you watch top right of the screen, just above where my weapon is, you will see an icon appear. That's Bloodlust. I'm not going to hit her. I'm just going to show you the difference. Right, there's Bloodlust. Top right of the screen, top left of the screen. That's level 1. As long as I keep line of sight on the survivor and continue to follow, my Bloodlust will increase to level 2. So keep going, keep going. There we go. Now we got level 2. See how quickly we're gaining on her now? So she's going to carry on. I'm not going to hit her. Just keep running. Keep running. We're going to try and get level 3. There we go, level 3. So now we are the quickest we can possibly be in a chase. So now if she tried to loop this at Bloodlust 3, there is no way. So go for the loop. Go for a full run. Watch this. I'll give her a bit of space. Look at that. Look at how quick that is. There's nothing she can do really with Bloodlust. So if she drops that pallet, I'm going to try and come over here. She's going to jump it. I'm going to miss. You can swing in Bloodlust like that, and it doesn't reset it. So if I keep doing this and then trying to mind game, that's pretty safe, so you can keep doing that. Oh, nearly. See what I mean? This is a mind game now. So if I don't want to lose that Bloodlust, I've got to mind game her and make sure that she jumps when she thinks I'm coming over. But again, she's a rank 1, so it's pretty difficult. See? This is a safe pallet. She's teabagging now. You'll get a lot of that. So then we kick this, and our Bloodlust will reset. So now she knows to go to a different pallet because I've just lost that movement speed. Excuse me. So yeah, she knows she can get to another pallet before I can hit her. Watch. Swing. Never mind. She was going to loop it. She was going to loop it. That's why she got hit. She hesitated. She should have dropped that. Right, we're going to carry on. We're going to carry on. Right, this is another loop. She's going for it, she's going for it, she's going for it. I could kill her there, quite easy. But we got stunned instead, because I waited. I know my ranges, but yeah, it's really difficult to explain how you know the range with things, but if you look at what she's doing, she's trying to break line of sight, she's trying to slow me down as much as she can. Personally, I'm just following behind her at the moment to try and show you how to track, but what she's doing is perfect, because now I just got out of a chase. That's when the music stops. That also resets your Bloodlust level. So yeah, I might be able to get her here because she hasn't got any pallets, but I'm not going to. So then she's going to carry on running. This is a pretty safe pallet because just as I get close enough, she can drop it. So then I've got to reset my Bloodlust again. And this is the basics of surviving. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let her heal up, and we're going to go on a legitimate chase. And I'm going to show you some techniques that you can use as a killer to try and outthink your opponent. So if we're in a legitimate chase right now and she was to try and loop me from a certain side, there's things I can do. There's things you can do with all different killers. I mean, prime example, one of the main things you can do, obviously, is trap up a loop. So this big loop here, as the trapper, I can go through the window, turn around this end, and then face my trap a certain way, trap it up like that, and then now when she tries to jump through that, she's going to get trapped. But from the outside, she can't see that that's even there. So if I'm coming to chase her here, she jumps through there, she's mine. So now I've just prevented that loop. She can disarm that, but only if she knows it's there. So we've got another pallet here. Alright, let's see what she's doing. Right, she's dropped it. Right, so that was a pretty good loop. She soft looped that, which means a little loop. Oh, there we go. Little shitbag, where's that gone? Ah, right, she's trying now, she's trying. There we go, there's one. Right, so assume you know where she's going to be going and run in diagonals. Diagonals will cut off a survivor every time a lot better than it will do than running in a straight line. Don't chase a survivor like right behind them. Try and anticipate where they're going to be going and move from side to side, cutting it off. So we're going to let her get off. We're going to let her struggle out. and hopefully she can find a damn med kit. You got 16 seconds as a killer to get a survivor to a hook. So if you're carrying a survivor, if you always count to about 15 seconds, you'll know your range, you'll know where you're going. See, she's unsetting that trap now. So now, because I've got no add-ons, I need to reset that. Now she can use the loop again. But what she's trying to do, I think, currently, is trying to find a med kit. So we're going to let her do that a bit. But the basics, really, is... there's good loops and there's bad loops. There's good killers, there's bad killers. There's certain killers that are good on different maps, and there's certain killers that are bad on certain maps. So, I mean, it's really difficult to explain the difference between a good loop and a bad loop for new people. There's certain places you can run to. I mean, this one, for example, here, you got a big end on this side that you can loop around. You got a little end on this side, so if it's the initial start of the chase and I've got no bloodlust, the survivor can loop the big end around the pallet, and I won't be able to catch him for one, maybe two full loops. So she's going again, look, and now she should drop it. That was the perfect time to drop that, because that got looped twice, so that's a pretty safe loop. But if I'd have tried to force her around the other way and on the smaller loop, which is this one, she would have only been able to run that once, and then I would have been able to hit her, if you know what I mean. So right, go find another loop. Right, this one. Right, this one is a pretty bloody strong loop. So here, she's got the pallet there. She can loop that round here. She can also use the window, which then I've got to counter by coming around a different end. She could make me think she's going that way and double back and then come back to the pallet. Yeah, watch. Prime example. Right, loop it. That was a very bad start. Loop it again. Go. Right, where's she gone? Right, she went this way. Right, okay. Right, I've lost her. I've lost her. I don't know where she's gone. See what I mean? Line of sight. It's a bloody nightmare. She's over there. Oh, nearly. Right, she jumped that window. Where's she gone now? She went back. I just caught the bottom of her. Now she's going this way. I'll cut this off. She saw me do it, so she's doubled back. Right, now I got a hit. But it was very close. Now we're going to leave that pallet down and we're going to try and mind game the pallet. Yeah, mind game the pallet. You got it. You got it. Right, go. Right. So now we're not going to break the pallet. We're going to try and down her without breaking the pallet. Using bloodlust. Right, so she's gone that way. Then you use your red stain to make her think you're going one way, and then you can pull back. You can also hide your red stain in the wall so she doesn't know which side you're coming from. And then you can come up alongside her like this, and then she's dead. So that's another way you can go about doing it. And I didn't even have Bloodlust level 1 there. But yeah, your best bet on loops like this for survivors that know what they're doing is break the damn loop. Another thing you can do as a killer is the survivor is always going to see your red stain. So if I come over here from about, I'd say about there, from me to shadow away, there will be a red glow on her screen, and it will be the killer's red stain. You can hide that and mind game it by facing the wall like this. There will be no way to see the red stain. If she's on the other end, I don't want to do this and walk forward, because around that corner she's going to see the red stain if she's on the other end. So what I want to do is look at the wall, push against it, move to the side real quick, and then approach from this end, because then they've got less thinking time. So there's that to hide the red stain as well. You can also hide your red stain and then make them think you're going that way, walk backwards, and then come this way. That's another thing you can do as a killer. So yeah, there's that too. I think that's pretty much it for basic mind games with pallets, basic loops. I mean, we can get more into this in an advanced tutorial video. She's telling me no, we don't want to do an advanced tutorial video on loops and things. Right, okay. What we're going to be doing now then is showing you real quickly what happens when you trap something. So we're going to put a trap, say here, prime example, without no grass. So that is very visible. That is a very visible trap. Right, this is just based on the trapper as well, bear in mind. So yeah, L2 to place a trap. Shadow will see that quite easily, and she can come over and she can disarm it. Like so. Right, so what you want to do is you want to know where the survivor is going to run. So for example, this area here, we knew there was a pallet there, right? Shadow was looping through here, around here, down here, and over this end. And if you look as a killer, you will see tall grass intermittently throughout loops. So what you can do to hide your traps a bit better is assume you know where they're going to be looping from, and then place a trap there, as the trapper obviously. So we, say for example, we assumed that this was going to be a very good loop to use for a survivor. We're going to be putting a trap in the grass about there. So then if Shadow was to do the loop she did earlier, look at how invisible that is. Now she's trapped. Prime example. That's all you got to do. And you can either smack them out the trap, like that, or you can walk over to them and press R1 and you'll pick them straight back up. You get 500 bonus points as well for doing that. Now, what else is there? Killer's basement. Right, so the basement, as I said, will either spawn in the shack over there, or it will spawn somewhere else in another building. You'll always find the basement because it's the only set of stairs that lead down in each level. There is always a basement in every level. You come down here and there will be 4 hooks. In the basement there is only one way in and one way out, so you really don't want to be in here as a survivor. These hooks will never ever break. You can sacrifice as many survivors as you want with these hooks without no issue. Whereas the hooks on the top level, these hooks, the normal hooks, if we sacrifice somebody on one of these hooks, when they die, that hook will become unusable. The hook will fall, this will break, you can't use that hook again. So then now if we look here and imagine this hook wasn't here, our next best option would be that one. So then if you sacrifice another survivor on that one, so then that one's gone, you look around, you're going further afield. So if you possibly can, as a new killer, always hook people away from where there are dead hooks. Space your hooks apart, because otherwise you're not going to be able to hook anybody and they're just going to wiggle off your shoulder. That's another tip that people fail to realise as well. Right, so what we're going to do now real quick is we're going to show you the hatch mechanics. And I don't think Shadow's got adrenaline currently equipped, so this won't work for her. But what I'm going to do is this is the hatch that the survivors can get out of under certain circumstances. They can use a key to open it when there's a certain amount of generators been done, or if they are the last survivor in the game, the hatch will open for them to find. If you listen to that noise, you will hear that noise is signifying the hatch is open, it's somewhere nearby. In this situation, you need to come as the killer and beat the survivor to the hatch. Don't look for the survivor, look for the hatch. If it's the last one, always go for the hatch. Look around the map, it can spawn anywhere on the map. So your range is roughly, with a good set of headphones, if I start moving slowly, right, I can hear it there. So from me to Shadow away, that's where you can hear it from, in a big circle. So by the bus, the side of the building, by that generator over there, you will hear a slight hum of the hatch, and it's directional. So if I go walking over here, I'm going to hear the noise getting louder on my left. If I'm walking over here, it's behind me and it'll get fainter. So that's where you know where it is. So we will run. Shadow has got to get here before me and jump out. But as the killer, I can press R1 and I can close the hatch. So now she's screwed. So now the exit gates are powered and the endgame collapse has started. What that means is Shadow has now got that progress bar at the top, which is 3 minutes it equates to. to get herself over to an exit gate and open the exit gate and get herself out. Otherwise, she will die to the entity. The entity will sacrifice her automatically. So I know that she's going to be in that space over there or this space over here. So she's going to open the exit gate. It's going to take her 16 seconds to open that exit gate. There is 3 lights on an exit gate, and there is, for however much percentage has been completed on the unlocking process by a survivor, the lights will flicker. Right, so that 2 lights is half, and then the 3rd light will make a noise, if you'll hear now. It'll bleep twice, and then a 3rd time to signify that it has been completely opened. Now, this is the exit area. You can pull people off switches if they're currently doing it. Just walk behind them and press R2, or you can smack them down and then leave them to die to the entity, which is what we're going to do here actually. So Shadow's going to stand right in the middle of that exit gate, and she's going to wait and show us what happens when the timer goes down. If you block the survivors from getting these exit gates open, and the timer runs out, you will get the sacrifice score as if you've done it yourself. So yeah, goodbye Shadow, thank you for your assistance, and we will see you in the next game. Yeah, you point, you know. Goodbye. Alright, this is always so fun to watch. She's teabagging, she knows it's coming. There we go. And she's dead. Bye, Shadow. And that's the entity taking the sacrifice. So now we win. That can happen if you've got all 4 players left in the game and nobody goes for the exit gate. That can happen to all 4 people at the same time if they haven't left the game. So with the trapper, you can go over to the exit gate, you can put a trap under the exit gate switch. If people try and disarm it, then you'll hear a noise, and then you can go over to that gate, you can prevent them opening it. It's all about time. It's all about time. So the basics for killer is mind game things, anticipate where the survivor is going to be going before they do, cut them off, run in diagonals instead of following them straight, and basically use your power. Don't camp people, don't tunnel people. I know it's very alluring if you've taken you all game to down 1 survivor and then you're just going to stand at the hook and just stand at their face so they can't get saved. That's not a very nice thing to do. I know you're a killer, but it's a game. Come on people, you don't need to ruin a game. It's meant to be a laugh. So, and always run with the same rank as yourself. There has been a recent update with Dead by Daylight, and it will always matchmake you and your team with the highest ranked player in the game. So if Shadow were to join a 3 rank 20s, it would look for a rank 1 killer. That is detrimental to the rank 20s. They're never going to learn, they're not going to have a very fun time at all, and Shadow is probably going to be the only one to stand a chance. By which point the other 3 are dead, nobody's having fun, and yeah, just stick to your own rank. By all means play with your friends, but just know this. If you get a higher rank killer and you start complaining to that killer through mail or otherwise that he shouldn't be in your game, it's actually the survivor's fault. Just remember that. It is the survivor's fault. That's why you only play with your own rank. If you've got a higher rank friend and you think that you're going to get carried, they can't do much if the killer is only going for the rank 20s. I can assure you of that. There is not much you can do. By all means, players play with friends, but try and keep your ranks the same. Another pointer for killer is learn the killer. Learn what type of killer you want to play. If you don't like a killer, it doesn't mean the killer is necessarily bad. It means it doesn't match your type of play style. Personally, as you can see, I use every single killer in Dead by Daylight. I've got every single one of them, Prestige 3, apart from my Wraith. I've got every single one of them, Prestige 3, apart from my Wraith. 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 Prestige 3, apart from And my Wraith, the only reason I haven't prestiged him is because he really looks the bollocks. So yeah, that's the only reason. The only reason at all. But Prestige 3 we'll get into on another video, but just quickly to run down. When you hit level 50 with a character, you can go into your loadout, your Bloodweb, sorry, which isn't on a custom game. I could show you what I'm talking about. When you reach level 50 with any killer or any survivor, you can go to your Bloodweb, and there will be a new node in the middle of your Bloodweb, says Prestige. Increase your Prestige level. So if you click this and hold it, this is going to pop up. Increasing your Prestige level. Increasing Prestige level has the following effects. Reset the progress of this character back to level 1. So you will lose everything on that killer. All your items that you haven't used, all your add-ons, all your offerings, everything will be reset. Unlock a Prestige level reward for this character. That is a cosmetic, and you get 1. As I've said, you lose all items, all add-ons, all perks and all offerings. Everything will be reset. You will slightly increase the odds of getting better items on the Bloodweb, and teachable perks will stay available across all characters. So basically, if we look at teachable perks, if you unlock Predator, you unlock Bloodhound, and you unlock Shadowborn, which you just do by unlocking them in the Bloodweb at level 40, you get 1 at 30, 1 at 35 and 1 at 40, and you will tell the difference because they have an orange background. Once you've done that, these perks can then be unlocked and used on a different killer. So for example, Predator is the Wraith's perk. I can now get Predator on the Doctor, or the Hag, or the Trapper, and it will randomly appear. The rarity levels, when you prestige, will be like more chance of ultra rare items appearing in your Bloodweb, because it's random. So if you're prestige level 3, because you can get prestige 3, which is the highest prestige you can get, then you're going to get the most chance of getting rarer items in your Bloodweb. Quickly going to show you what you get for prestiging. So we will go for... oh shit, I can't show you on Wraith, can I? He's the only one I haven't prestiged, what an idiot. Right, okay. Let's try Trapper. So we're going to set the Trapper back to his default, which is that one, it is that one, and it is... is it the Cleaver? Yeah, I think that's base Trapper. Right, so this is the Trapper you start out with, and when you prestige, for prestige level 1, you will always unlock the weapon as a killer, and there's the prestige level 1 weapon. So you'll equip that, and the difference being is it is absolutely covered with blood. So there's the Cleaver normally, and prestige 1 will give you the bloody Cleaver, like so. And then prestige level 2 will give you the body, which is another bloody cosmetic. So we start off with rubber and hooks, and bloody rubber and hooks is prestige 2. So you go level 50, prestige, you get the weapon, and then prestige level 1 and another 50 levels, prestige again, so then you prestige level 2, and you will get this cosmetic, which is his bloody variant, absolutely saturated with blood. And then you do it one more time, so you get prestige level 2, and then you go up another 50 levels and prestige again, you'll get prestige level 3, which is his final piece, which is his bloody mask. So then you get that one. So then you're completely and utterly saturated with blood. And that's prestige. That's all you get. And each time you reach level 50, you will lose every single perk. So to put it into perspective, I've done this on every killer bar 1. And all my killers there, as you can see there, there's a 3 icon with a skull in it. That means they're prestige 3. Prestige 3 plus 50 levels. So 50, 100, 150, 200. It's 150 levels for the prestige, all 3, and then an extra 50 levels on top of the prestige 3 for your final. So you can get P3 plus 50, and that's what every one of my killers are, apart from the Wraith. So I've got the best chance of the rarest items in each Bloodweb and the like. So yeah, that's the prestige system in a nutshell. Not really worth it for most people, but yeah, I enjoyed having all the bloody cosmetics. It gave me something to do. So yeah, pretty much that is everything that I wanted to cover in this video. I am going to be doing more videos with regard to singular killers, their powers, their flaws, the pros, the cons, how to use them, stuff like that. And we will be doing a survivor guide basics as well. I thank you all for watching, and I hope to catch you soon. Any comments, any tips, any questions, any advice, any queries with regard to the video itself, or anything in general, please feel free, drop me a line, put it in the comments, no problem at all. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you again in the next one, peeps. Cheers! Ta-da!
あの日僕の心は音もなく崩れ